What's up, ACL Nation? We have the legend Matt Guy on the show this week. He's going to talk about his most recent win at the first ACL Open of the year. We're going to go over those results and also give you a little bit of tease into this weekend, today's National College Cornhole Championship. This is the ACL Throwdown. As I said, we are going to have Matt Guy on the show this week. He's going to talk about his most recent win at that third Open event of the year down in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. But first, my hashtag Trey's Takes. We definitely have to talk about the results from that Myrtle Beach Open. As scheduled as Myrtle Beach Open number 3, the third Open of the year, but really it's been the second. We had our first one in the Chicagoland area. That second one was canceled because of COVID restrictions up in Washington State. So this Myrtle Beach Open was really the first opportunity for a lot of the players, especially in the Southeast, to get their Open tournament in for the season, and it was incredible. It was a great event. We had singles, doubles, women, seniors, you name it. So let's jump through some of those results. Kicked off the weekend with women's singles and senior singles. On the women's side, we had Allison Peters taking down Sam Finley. Man, how many times do you think those two ladies have played each other? Allison Peters starts her campaign in this season, not only by making a national team at the USA Cornhole Championships back in October, but now getting a women's singles win under her belt. So she's starting very hot there. Senior singles, Bob Vaunch takes down Eric Ryder in that senior singles final. Bob Vaunch, a commanding victory in that finals game. And he shows, yet again, he's going to be one of those players that's just going to show up consistently. Eric Ryder, a strong finish there by the old man. Now in the seniors division, yikes, he's getting old for Eric Ryder. There we go. All right, moving on. We also had obviously singles and doubles after the Rounders qualification. We love that Rounders format. Starting with singles, level 3 singles. So the lowest tier bracket, Trace Johnson took down Stephen Graham, obviously brother of Jamie Graham there, to get the victory in level 3. In level 2, Kenzie Beach takes down Josh Page in the finals of our level 2 singles. And of course, level 1 singles, Matt Guy, a strong performance. Everybody was wondering how he would handle throwing the fire bags, moving away from Reynolds. And we're going to talk a little bit about that with Matt later on, but got the job done against Matthew Sorrells. Sorrells has a strong performance all day. He beats Frank Modlin in the finals of the bracket to get to that final match, whereas Matt Guy beat Josh Holland. So both Frank Modlin and Josh Holland, they finish tied for second in their bracket, or tied third overall. And then third, another third in the bracket, or tied for 5th overall, we had Jacob Gore, as well as Adam Hissner. So Adam Hissner is starting his season very hot, an ACL pro, but Jacob Gore and Jack Gore, that they were called the Twin Terrors throughout the entire weekend, put on a strong show, just 11 years old. You're gonna watch out for them. I know they're attempting to qualify for that pro division next season, so watch out for them. I think they're gonna be up and coming, kind of joining Ian Cripps with that youth movement in cornhole. Obviously Trevor and Easton Caballero, two young guns that are really looking to make a splash this year and possibly in future seasons. Moving on to doubles. So we move on to doubles, tier 3 doubles. Justin French and John Crow take down Scott Jones and Hunter Symington. Strong finish there by both teams. Tier 2 doubles, we had some pros in this final here, not able to get into that tier 1. That tier 1 was ridiculously stacked that weekend. Kaylee Hunter and Kenzie Beach take down Allison Peters and Sam Finley. I've been previewing Kaylee Hunter wondering if she was going to be able to make that step from a good player to a really good player or a great player. And this shows she's ready. Anytime you take down a team like Allison Peters and Sam Finley, it shows that you're ready. And I was impressed by what I saw from Kaylee this weekend. So kudos to her. And then, of course, Tier 1 doubles. We had the robot himself, Trey Birchfield, alongside Derek King, a.k.a. the world champions. They take it down, no surprise there, but they do take down Matt Guy and Jamie Graham. So the legendary, the greatest of all time team, we were wondering if they would even lose or how much they would lose this season. And hey, they lose twice. They get knocked in the loser's bracket and take a loss again to Derek King and Trey Birchfield. They got them twice. So the world champions showing, hey, we are the best of the best. I don't want to hear it about this Matt Guy, Jamie Graham being the best team in the country. We are the best team in the country, and they have earned and retained that title for the time being. Third place, Josh Holland and Brett Guy. Josh Holland is one of those guys, again, could easily get himself into the pro division and make strong runs. Just can't commit, but he plays with Brett Guy in this event. Eric Davis not able to make the trip. Brett Guy, one of those players, had another strong performance. He's so sneaky good. He's always going to be underestimated just because of who his dad is, but I'm telling you, Brett Guy has a chance to be a top 5 player this year. And then in fourth place, we had Noah Wooten pairing up with Tony Smith. So Matt Sorrells took the weekend off to play with Trevor Caballero, the 5-year-old, a really cool experience there. So Tony Smith and Noah Wooten pair up. It was a flop shot city. If you go back on the digital network and rewatch the matches that they were featured in doubles, you'll see that both of those guys were flopping bags like it was their job, rolling bags. I mean, no, you name it. Any type of roll shot variation, they were throwing it. So a pleasure to watch them, and they get a strong finish on the year, or strong finish to start the year with that fourth place. Those are your results from that first Open of the year. Let's talk with the champion in singles, Mr. Matt Guy. We'll talk about bags, talk about the Open, talk about the future of this season, and much more. Let's get to my conversation with Matt and see how excited he is for the win. What's up, ACL Nation? I got the legend here, Mr. Matt Guy, coming off of a big win down in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And Matt, I know you got countless wins under the belt, but as an ACL pro, getting a signature win there, this first one of the year, has got to feel good, right? At least some momentum getting into the season.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt anytime you get the win, it feels good. I mean, that's just human nature. Yeah. But, coming into the weekend, I had been practicing probably a little more than I would normally. And, my shot was feeling good and I had confidence going in. And when we got down there Thursday, and started playing the luck of the draw there Thursday night, and shot was feeling pretty good, all except for that 12 I gave up that one round there against Brandon Jones. Other than that, my shot felt great. But went in feeling good, and it was, as we talked earlier when you interviewed me on an earlier episode there, I talked about just that focus and confidence, and sometimes it's there and sometimes it's not. And man, it was just there all weekend. It really was. Felt good.
That's awesome. I mean, you played against Matt Sorrells in the finals, Josh Holland in the semifinals. You had a game that was absolutely ridiculous against Derek King. And so it had to feel good throwing against some of the best players in the world, certainly. And do you think it helped you at all getting some momentum going into this season as a pro?
Well, sure, because now my confidence is high, and when you play with confidence, it's a lot easier to play than when you go in with negative thoughts. It's hard to get going. So to have confidence going in is huge, without a doubt. Yes.
Yeah. So, and one thing that was, I think, a big question mark for a lot of people, obviously, in previous seasons, you were a Reynolds guy. You've made the move over to Fire Cornhole this year. And so what series bags were you throwing this past weekend? And then, how did they feel? I know you're not going to sit there and say you didn't like them. I know you're a brand guy. So, but really, how would you assess your comfort level kind of making that major change over to a new set of bags this season?
So as far as the bags go, it's on me to throw a bag straight, regardless of the brand. The player has to throw the bag straight. The player has to hit the shot. So, I feel like with any bag, if I don't throw good, that's pretty much on me for not throwing it straight. But as far as how the bags played and how I felt with them, I actually did the math, which the new scoring system, by the way, is just sweet. Absolutely love it. It keeps track of every game, every bag thrown. It'll tell you your in-hole percentage for each game. And I mean, I got all into seeing that after we got home from the trip. I was like, this is awesome. And I did the math on all my games and put them together, and I averaged 83% of my bags in the hole. So I would say I felt like I was on fire.
Yeah, so 83% is pretty dang high.
No problem at all with the fire bag for the whole tournament, not just the game, for the whole tournament. So, I mean, that's a confidence boost right there in itself. So, how I feel with the bags, perfectly fine. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, they were sliding great. They were giving around the hole. I was dragging airmails. Everything was working. And then Sunday, the rain came in, and it wasn't just fire bags. You could tell all bags were getting stickier and clingier and not falling. And, I debated switching to the fast side at one point, but I thought, I'm having a good weekend. I ain't going to change nothing. And I stuck with it. But, and I noticed in the doubles, Jamie's bag kept hanging in the hole and stopping, and he probably should have switched, Looking back, thinking about the tournament, I was thinking, maybe I should have told him to try switching, but that's just part of the game. But, everybody was fighting that on Sunday, just the way it was.
Yeah. And so, and that was what I was actually curious of is if you needed to flip over on that slick side, because there were many, many years that you were almost like give me as slick a bag as I possibly could have type of throw. But recently, I think over the past few years, and really even the past year and a half, I think I've seen you attempt to throw more and more, a little bit stickier. You're a little bit more of a lower trajectory, a little bit more of a line drive. So
correct.
So it's that's been an intentional switch for you to get a little bit slower on that side. Is that to set up more blocks, or really just you like that motion feeling the best?
No, it's all about comfort and rhythm. Because I'm talking early days of playing, probably 2000 through 2009, maybe even 10, I was throwing that low line drive shot. That was my shot, always was. And, if I was playing somebody else on sticky boards, I would just light them up because I could hit that shot and nobody else could do it. And that shot, I don't know what happened. I can't explain it. It just kind of left me. I couldn't do it no more. So that's when I started throwing that higher trajectory and liking the faster bags. And I did fine with it, but just out of the blue, year and a half ago, I was like, oh, my line drive shot's back. Okay, I'm going to roll with that. Weird how we change, but it is what it is. Hey, you go with what's working.
Right. It's obviously working for you now. You alluded a little bit to, pairing up with Jamie Graham. Obviously, the hype couldn't be higher for you guys. Sure. And to an extent, I think you kind of expected that. I think Jamie expected a lot of people that are really deep into the cornhole kind of expected, look, the expectations are absolutely outrageous for this team, and playing within a division where it's going to be the absolutely stacked talent. There was going to be some moments of getting some chemistry developed. So overall, I know you wanted to win, but you only lost to one team all day in Trey and Derek. But you and Jamie, that first tournament together, how would you assess that the both of you played, and how do you feel coming out of that first doubles tournament together?
I can't feel bad. Like you said, we got second. We lost to one team all weekend, and it just kind of happened that both of those games were probably Jamie's roughest games of the day. It's just, it is what it is. You can't control it. But, as far as how do I think we're going to be moving forward, we're going to be perfectly fine. I've seen Jamie Graham throw enough to know that he's going to be as solid as anybody out there. I even told him, I was like, dude, I've really never seen you struggle that bad. It was, for me, it was kind of like, wow, he's really struggling. I don't think I've ever seen him struggle that bad, but It's like I told him, it's one tournament. It's not a big deal. You know, the Jets beat the Rams last week. The Bengals beat the Steelers. You know, you're not going to win them all. So, you know, upset, you know. So, you know, are we the team to beat per se? Yeah, that perception's out there. I'm sure you're taking two of the greatest players in the world and put them together. But, you know, it's going to be a long year, and I think we're going to be perfectly fine. I'm not worried in the slightest.
Yeah, I mean, knowing that you're going against, you know, people like Trey Birchfield and Derek King, you know, they got you at the beginning of the year. They're reigning world champions right now.
Absolutely.
Would you peg them as kind of aside from you guys, kind of the team to beat, the team that you think has the biggest competition for you guys as far as, you know, competing for that world championship in 2021?
Sure. I mean, how can you not? Like you said it, they're the defending world champions. They just beat us twice over this weekend. So absolutely 100%, no doubt. They're right now looking in, they're the team to beat. We got to beat them to switch that around.
Yeah, there's rumors going around that Birchfield has got a microchip. He's a robot, so we'll have to find that microchip and pull it out there for you. So, like I said, a good win, a solid win down in Myrtle Beach at the Open, and now kind of we get an opportunity now because the next event is going to be that first national of the year. So, you know, having that first win under the belt, we talked about momentum, and we certainly think that is going to play a factor. Did your performance this weekend change anything for you as far as mentality going into the first national in a positive or negative way? Or is there anything that you're going to be focusing on in particular, whether it be in your mentality, your practice routine, or anything between now and February when we get to that first national?
The practice routine, you know, I'll probably continue to throw more than I normally do per se. But as far as everything else, you know, my expectations going in last weekend was winning, and I won. And the big key for me this weekend was just my airmail. My airmail was just out of sight. I mean, I could see that much hole. And, yeah, I got room, and I was just hammering them. I mean, I didn't hit them all. Don't get me wrong, but if I could go back and watch all the tape and watch my airmail percentage, it was pretty strong. And when you're feeling it, you're feeling it. So I hope I just keep feeling it.
Yeah, the airmail is such a key at the top level, and I can tell when you're in a zone when when a blocker goes up, if there's no hesitation, I can tell. None. I can tell that's the zone. So I think that's the key for me when I watch you and your style of play. There are some people, it's like, oh, if he hits the push shot, you know, a certain person hits a push shot, you're like, that's when they're in the zone. When someone's not missing anything left or right, that's when they're in the zone. For me, when I watch you, there's a bag in front of the hole for an opponent, and you immediately, you're not even thinking about it. That's when I know it's there. So obviously,
see it and hit it.
See
my
it and
philosophy.
Hit it.
See it and hit it, just instant. See it and hit it.
There it is. So last question. So how was it weird having Brett also in the tournament and not playing together? Was that a little bit weird?
Yeah, that was definitely weird. And playing against him in the finals of the losers bracket was very weird. I mean, it was very odd. It was. I
guess the only other time that would probably happen previously is the blind draw or something like that.
And most of the time, what was real weird about it, Trey, was most of the time, say we're in a blind draw and we have to play each other, we're on the same end, throwing against each other. But to be looking at him on the other end and being my opponent, that's what was really weird.
Yeah, did you find yourself almost trying to coach him on certain shots, and then you had to stand back?
I did. And, you know, I mean, there was bags he missed. I'd be like, "Come on, son." You know, there's no doubt. There's absolutely no doubt, because even though I wanted to win the game, because that's just my nature, I want to win. I'm rooting for him to make every bag, and it's our job to beat him if he does. So, you know, yeah.
Well, champion from the first Open, singles champion, Mr. Matt Guy. Matt, thank you so much. I appreciate the time this week on the Throwdown, and good luck. Get that practice in. You don't need much of it, but I know you're going to be dedicated to that routine as we get ready for this first national of the year, so I appreciate the time.
Well, I turned 50 next week, so I'll probably have to start practicing a little bit more because I'm old, you know.
Uh-oh, the big 5-0.
The big 5-0.
Well, happy birthday in advance. Happy early birthday, and good luck. Do some celebration, and we'll see you at first week in February.
Looking forward to Florida. Absolutely. Thank you, Trey.
The legendary Matt Guy, always a pleasure. Thank you, Matt, for joining me on this week's episode of the ACL Throwdown. And like I said later on today, make sure you tune in ESPN2 at 4 p.m. Eastern time here on New Year's Eve as we get ready for this National College Cornhole Championship. We're going to kick things off with the ACL Pro and College Invitational. 8 ACL Pros squaring off alongside 8 college students. Will reigning champion Austin Slowbaum get the job done with reigning champion Brittany Emge? Or will another team like Branson Oliver and Sam Finley take down the title? Tune in later this evening to check it out. I'll be joined in the booth alongside Jeff McCarriger. That's all the time that we got this week. Make sure you tune into the National College Cornhole Championship this weekend. And if not, we'll see you next week here on the ACL Throwdown. This has been your host, Trey Ryder. See you guys then.